When I was told by 44,000 people to complete Borderlands 3 with a steering wheel, little did I know that I would actually be fingering a butthole so insidious, masochistic, and dark that it could be used as a means of torture that no human could possibly withstand. Before I can take on Borderlands 3 with the Power Glove, one more challenge has to be completed, and this is it. Today, we will answer a question 44,000 of you sick little turd farmers have asked, and I hate you so goddamn much for it. Can you beat Borderlands 3 with the racing wheel controller? This isn't a Weenie Hut Jr. challenge, no. This question has been asked by the same people who play Raid Shadow Legends daily, and that should tell you something. This run will be written in the history books for years to come. Ancient prophecies have told of this very moment. But before we can unfold this journey, a few rules need to be laid out. Rule 1. I can only use a racing wheel controller to control my game and character. Typing my character's name can be done with my keyboard. Rule 2. Class mods and trinkets will not be allowed this run. Shield mods cannot pass the epic rarity, and I am not allowed to upgrade my SDUs. You know, because using a steering wheel just isn't enough. Rule 3. The entirety of Borderlands 3 will have to be played firing my weapon from the hip. And lastly, Rule 4. Buckle your seatbelts, gentle boys, literally and figuratively. Today, we will appease our Diaper Booty Queen Ellie and make her proud. This will most definitely not be an easy task for any mere mortal gamer, but fortunately for you guys, I will be the courageous soul to pursue this journey. I also want to add in that this run was an absolute horror, and I hated every second of it. I normally don't do this, but please make out with that like and sub button. I would sincerely appreciate that. God, it feels so good to say that. Okay, enough joking around. Let's set this bad boy up. Delivered to me by Ellie herself, a steering wheel ripped straight out of a runner from Borderlands 1 and 2. This riveting piece of gear has brought scientists new knowledge in the field of steering intensity and responsiveness. To accelerate my character, a gas and brake pedal board, donated to me by Dominic Toretto, aka my dad, also aka Vin Diesel from the Fast and the Furious. The responsiveness on this board alone gave me the same tingly feeling YouTube does when they demonetize my videos, and I love it. Next, I know Rule 3 stated that I could not aim down sights at all this run, so any rational thinking human being would obviously add this to their setup, a 9x32mm sniper scope to help add precision to every shot that I take. Also, I know I said I'd be quitting the whole hot dog thing, but this run I felt as though if I didn't have my wiener, it'd be a bad omen. A hot dog precision stabilizer was added to my scope. Now that we have discussed the setup, let's quickly explain how I got all of this to work. Making the steering wheel work with Borderlands 3 was quite simple. I first attempted to use it as a normal controller, but unfortunately due to Borderlands 3 using Denuvo anti-temper DRM, only PS4 and Xbox controllers can be used to play the game. This led me to my second option, a nice program named Joy to Key. This program is so easy to use, even a dumb idiot stupid head like me can use it. It turns any controller input into a mouse and keyboard input. Now that everything is set up and working, time to go sacrifice my sanity for a couple of YouTube views and Ellie's approval. And maybe Randy Pitchford's too. That'd be kind of Randy, please watch this video. Before the story of superhuman intelligence is beautifully displayed, we must first choose a character. I decided that Flak would be perfect for this run. Not only will his pet be able to assist me in battle, but his fadeaway should help with escaping. By the way, I'll have to tell you now that this was my first up this run. This McDonald's 4for4 homeless looking head ass was not a great idea at all. Amara would have made a grander choice in the scheme of things, but hey, it's too late now. That thick and spicy boy Flak will have to do. Shortly after arriving on the planet of Reach, I realized that I was early for the Covenant invasion, so this left me time to prepare. The controls were feeling great and so was I. My confidence was peaking, and I have never felt more than a really cool and nice guy until now. One of the things that was of utmost importance, choosing my character's name. Tony Stark, the lead antagonist in the SpongeBob movie, fit perfectly for the character I was playing. Along with the ravishing name, a top hat was needed. Not only did this hat complement my facial features, but it also allowed me to finish out the spiffing Brit cosplay I was trying to rock. Claptrap, that little hunk of masculinity, presented me with my first dilemma. It was time for my one and only test before this run actually started, to test if whether I was actually force sensitive or not, to test my perseverance and endurance, crouching under this piece of metal and making it over the jump tutorial. Many have failed, but you know who I am? I was more than capable of anything. But what I was not capable of doing was fighting my first group of enemies. Trying to kill them with this controller is literally equivalent to trying to solve a Rubik's Cube submerged in a pool of farts and molasses. Much training was going to be needed for me to get good at this shit. A couple of fat steaming dumps on my forehead later, your boy got the best gun in the entirety of Borderlands 3 and proceeded to fulfill his daily quota of steering wheel ass tenderizing. Shiv? More like bitch! He wasn't going to stand a chance against me and my steering... Okay, so after killing Shiv flawlessly, with 0 deaths, of course, this is where I decided I was going to need a death counter for the entirety of this run. The sheer number of deaths I had this playthrough was probably enough to send Krieg into dark and unforeseeable places. By the way, why the fuck isn't he in Borderlands 3 Gearbox? I want my nipple salad. I now had my action skills and pet unlocked, which would be vital to the success of this run. The leader of the Sun Smashers let me know he needed an Uber, so without a single thought, I hit that NOS button and sped my way to his location. My steering with this bad boy was pinpoint. I was fortunately able to unlock the secret energy hidden behind Brian O'Connor's driving in the Fast and Furious. RIP, by the way, my friend. Controlling this thing gave me the same perpetual nirvana that the PlayStation 2 startup sound did back in the day. Even though my gameplay looks like a bot attempting to play CSGO, all that mattered, all that was needed of my sweet succulent cheeks was to save Captain Underpants and return him safely to his mother. Who cares about what happens along the way? Cause you know, we're young and shit. Who cares, okay? With the Sun Smasher Chief now in the embrace of his mother, I forgot a very important step in the success of this run, which was naming my pet. My jabber was thus now appointed the name of a ravishing human being that comments on my videos. We were ready to take on the world. I got to Ellie, showed her my steering wheel, and after a bit of surveillance...
Dude. Woo! This is what I'm fucking talking about, baby.
Why?
Go! Come on! It's not what it looks... Get out of here! Mom! Go! Come on!
It was imperative that my queen got what she wanted, a vehicle. The sweet poetry of the situation, I was going to retrieve that shit with my racing wheel. Beautiful beyond words. Hopping in this Outrunner is when my boner grew to immeasurable levels on the Richter scale. Driving actually felt great in a Borderlands game, something no one has ever had the audacity to say. Saying that out loud in public right now would probably get me stoned, but it honestly brought a new immersive experience to the Borderlands. Now that the queen has been satisfied, one more preparation was needed before we brought this crusade to the faraway galaxies. A weapon foretold by ancient Aztec scribes as one that brings almost as much pain as a bee's sting and is capable of clearing the plaque out of any human mortal's butt cheeks. That weapon, of course, is the butt plug. Obtaining it was easy, and this was something that I was thoroughly looking forward to using. I needed to prepare myself for my butt plug only run, so this was an easy place to start. I was now an armored warrior, brandishing not only a butt plug, but also a steering wheel. Mouth Turd was definitely going to get what he deserved. Normally in controller videos I don't do operations, but since you guys love them so much, let's discuss the plan, gentle boys and girls. Operation My PP Got Caught in My Zipper So My Mom Had to Help was now in full effect. A couple of games on Call of Duty Modern Warfare and I was now fully trained in the art of using this controller to demolish my enemies. This was the final task I needed to complete before the Thanos Simulator 2020. My goal this run... I honestly don't really have one. Just survive and rely on rack attack. I 100% will be clenching my ass cheeks so hard, I can probably make a separate YouTube channel alone where I just hydraulic press shit with my butt cheeks. I honestly have no idea what I'll be doing this run and will be going in blind. Just surviving and trying not to lose my mind. Getting to Mouth Turd was not easy. This shit was a 20 can pack of AIDS. Well, actually, more like a 24 can value pack, but either way, holy ass, this was bad. It didn't help either that we had God Cringe Tyrene in the background singing me sweet lullabies that not only raped my eardrums, but also my sanity meter. My stay at the Cock HQ was quite pleasant. I eventually made it through, but all these deaths also didn't help with the fact that I was already like 6 beers deep and on the road to gout. I finally made it to Captain Double Dick, and in my drunken state, I courageously told myself to take on Mouthpiece with only a butt plug and a steering wheel. Holy shit, was this the best idea I have ever had. The force of my thrusting literally split the Red Sea that is his asshole. Tears rolled down my cheeks as I accomplished something that no man has ever dared to attempt. I am proud to say that I am probably the first person to ever kill Mouth Turd with a butt plug and a steering wheel. I will never forget this feat. Though my pride and overall high spirits were immediately killed afterwards because Tannis needed saving and I had to do it. After what felt like an eternity and a nipple twist, she was saved, ran over a couple of enemies for fun, and your boy was heading into space. choice. Promethea being the next destination was up for the taking, and I was excited. A couple of bad jokes and a few anime one-liners later, I clapped complete and utter ass and made it to our homegirl, Lorelei. The butt plug was holding up, and it was up to Lorelei and I to save Reese at the watershed. So far, the run was going decently. I was starting to get used to the controls, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. Aiming with the steering wheel was like giving a bedridden old man on a dialysis machine a gun. It was barely possible. Clearing the courtyard for Reese brought me immeasurable pain and sorrow. My booty plug was doing barely any damage, and getting behind my enemies to deal extra damage just didn't seem possible. Sitting my ass bare on a charcoal grill would be more enjoyable than this shit. But as always, when everything is standing in the way of your favorite gamer girl Senza, he finds a way to prevail. Reese's watershed was now secured, and it was time to find Genji, so we could assist him in taking out the Covenant threat. Skipping all the side quests to get here was oh hot damn a bad fucking idea, just like my very fucking existence. Although I was a master Uber driver and knew everything about this steering wheel, the same way a master shinobi knows the back of his katana, my pure skill and expertise alone was not enough for this part of the game. I was underleveled, and FBI himself couldn't save me from the horrors that is a Malawan anal probe. Zero swooned my boners with a twinkle of emoji in his eyes, and god damn it was time. Time to decommission these sentry bots with our small wieners and bad JoJo references. The backroom casting couch with 50 Malawan powerhouse soldiers was a quite radiant and astonishing experience, and because of that, I was now revved up and ready to go. Katagawa threatened to take away our Fortnite accounts and our parents' credit cards, and he had a lot of nerve for saying that, especially for someone who was in butt plug distance. FBI, my racing wheel, and I called him out. A 1v1 quickscope battle, YY aiming only, on Modern Warfare 2 Rust. I was a man on a hunt. Unfortunately for GigaChad, I did my homework, and I brought his ultimate weakness. I began jabbing away and died a few times, but the friendship between Zero and I was beyond inseparable. I knew the homie had my back every time I went down. I gave GigaChad a taste of my medicine, and his days of selling cheap Asian Danny Phantom hentai was now over. GigaChad gave me brain, and then I gave Reese dome. Doing so thus unlocked the next area, my absolute favorite. This planet and Ava alone are a complete enigma to present society. I am 100% convinced that if we interviewed the writers themselves, asking them what the purpose of this planet and Ava was, we would then begin to understand the meaning of life, the Big Bang Theory, and how to fart on command. Athenas was as usual. It was terrible and led me to literally throwing my headset. Death after death. This shit was literally a Shin Ashina from Sekiro all over again. If you want a quick rundown of what happened when I was on this planet, here, I'll give you one. I died, met Maya, died some more, got to Ava, and then did my favorite thing in the world, ceasing to exist. I had to put the butt plug on hiatus because my sanity couldn't take much more. It took a god-awful time to get here, almost 4 hours or so, but I finally fucking did. The plan for Trant was to use fadeaway to my advantage. Even though my aim is equivalent to peeing with the boner, I was going to run Circuit Midnight Club 3 dub edition laps around the boss arena until fadeaway was up. When it came up, I was going to unload my lead facial all over that and then rinse and repeat for the rest of the fight. My Jacobs pistol was ripping about as much ass as I do on Taco Tuesday at Tijuana Flats, so I knew that this was possible. 1700 horsepower of straight masculinity, the peak of male evolution. There was no way in hell that Tron was ready for this shit, baby. My steering wheel and I were one at this point. Fucking Dragon Ball Z fusion. This boss fight took quite a few tries and gave me a throwback to Need for Speed Most Wanted on the PS2. After getting my tactic down, it worked, and my Jacobs pistol and fadeaway finished that fucker off. The easiest part of the game was next, the Skywell. Using this steering wheel was starting to become a second language to me. I mean, I totally didn't lose my cool at one point and threaten something absolutely unseen. Seriously, if I don't fucking kill this thing, Oz, I'm going to stream myself eating my own asshole. But this was all made easier when I got the perk that allows my pets to revive me. To give you a gist of things that happened on the Skywell, Katagawa Ball, aka Katagawa's butt plug, was for some reason not as easy as I thought it would be. Me being the most perceptive human being on earth, I realized that this was not going as planned. But just like a bot on Tinder, programmed to swipe right on every match, perseverance was the key. Here's a scene where I straight up fist Katagawa Ball with an SMG and absolutely murder him while using only a steering wheel.
Play of the game.
Katagawa was now left shivering in his undies and grabbing for his mama's teat, because you already know that FBI, my steering wheel, and I were coming straight for that unadulterated booty. Atlas HQ was the normal spiel as always. Took the kids to school at 7 a.m, drove to the grocery store, picked them up at 3 p.m, and then played They Are Billions until the Malawan soldiers stopped spawning. Katagawa was absolutely obnoxious. Like, holy goddamn turds on a stick. This shit was straight up the face vomiting emoji. It was nowhere near the okay hand emoji I thought it would be. This fight fortunately brought me 0 deaths, but it was annoying. Katagawa was killed for doing the thing I absolutely abhor the most, breathing, and now it was time for our first vault. All the trials and tribulations I have been through has brought me to this very moment. Everyone who plays Borderlands 3 with a T80 Thrustmaster steering wheel knows that the Vault Guardians outside the Rampager are absolutely annoying to deal with, so after taking out the trash at night, my hash-slinging slasher looking head ass got to work. I just want to give an admirable mention now before this fight starts. FBI is a true MVP of this little cock HQ raid. He had my back every second of the way, right behind me sniffing my farts and slapping my ass for motivation. When I was downed, he was always there to come to the rescue. Thinking of how I was going to very carefully tackle this boss fight, I made it into the Rampagers arena and I had a fucking plan. That plan, straight up popping Yuis for 20 minutes straight, dealing as much damage as I could. This was the best run on the Rampager that I have ever had. I was beyond positive that I had this shit in the bag first try with my racing wheel, until I was indoctrinated by the Rampager's big sweaty gooch and was cucked last second. At this point, each attempt took me 30 plus minutes. I couldn't take it anymore. On my last run, I decided to run in circles around the boss, while FBI confiscated all of the Rampager's That's So Raven lolly porn. The Rampager was hit with my Mortal Kombat finishing move, and now it was time for Eden 6. Down here on Jurassic World was a nice experience. Wainwright wanted me to save Mr. Hammerlock and give him a kiss. Optional homo, of course. This part was surprisingly easy. My racing wheel and I finally found peace within each other. She trusted me and I trusted her. My father and founder of Xbox, Marcus, helped me in the search of finding Mr. Hammerlock. It really makes me sad that this is the only mission that we get to hang out with the original gang. Marcus played man mode patty cake with my little FBI, and they made me a proud human being, until Tina came over and assumed my fetch quest capabilities and forced me to get her ingredients for a pizza that goes boom boom. Being the scholar that I am, cheek clappage ensued and I retrieved what was needed. Mordecai was useless, and Sam Raimi along with Tobey Maguire delivered this explosive pizza. And yes, children, I do think Sam Raimi's Spider-Man is the best. The prison warden was a gatekeeper to Sir Hammerlock's DMs, his Twitch chat white knight, so to say. But I think he forgot that my sensei was Mater from the first Cars movie. I could sense the fear in the arena, and I used his ass cheeks as a jump house and straight up destroyed his whole music career. I took my Need for Speed Most Wanted laps around the arena and then prayed to the one and only Randy Pitchford that I could finish him off without him transforming. I was able to defeat the warden with the steering wheel first try, just like all of my other attempts on boss fights. With the warden down and the Wainwright Manor conquered, I now had the precious Jacobs limited edition, never released on YouTube ASMR soundtrack in my hand. I was starting to feel on top of the world. It was now time for the moment we were all waiting for. ASMR, baby. The ASMR track that would lead me to Balex. And Miller Lite and some straight up dog shit aiming later, I found the dinosaur from the land before time that ate my Balex and I saved him. I made it to Genevieve and it was time for her to taste the justice of my steering wheel with the hunting sniper rifle attachment and a hot dog stabilizer. This fight was terrible. Genevieve was feeding me her non-fat titty soy milk and god damn it, it was disgusting. Dad Lex bailed on me just like my actual dad, and I was now in this one alone. Except there was a light at the end of the tunnel. I forgot I had a secret weapon, a weapon to surpass Metal Gear, my very own FBI. I take back what I said at the beginning of this run. This cute little fucker here is really all I could ever ask for, and more, in a friend. Every time I was down, he used a sensu bean as a suppository on me, springing me back to life and in business. He was a Carl Weezer to my Jimmy Neutron, the Big Smoke to my CJ. Bless this little turd. The second piece of Exodia was now in my hand. It was time to get the last. Hunting down Mini Thanos with my cool guy gun was quite easy. Even without seeing through the sights, I was able to remember where all the crit spots were. After everything I needed was obtained, it was time to end Mini Thanos' adult acting career. His days of using his technique of being Plankton and then turning to Clifford the big red dog in one penis pump were now over. Generosity was still seething through my veins after that one, so it was time to pay Aurelia a sweet visit. The fight with Aurelia was an interesting but difficult one. I did my usual of sitting in the corner and hoping to God that I didn't get hit by one of her bullshit attacks, relax, and I did almost cry a few times because FBI couldn't survive the ass juice waterboarding torture of ice and snow she gave him. But after 2 tries, I was able to show her what my Bruce Lee full of chi energy hands were capable of and removed her from this very universe. The moment we had been waiting for, Exodia, had now been summoned. For once, thank our sweet and merciful Lord Ricardo Milos, for once, I was able to do fatty damage to the Grave Ward. The only difficult part of this fight was having to deal with the steering wheel. Getting his health down low, I felt the moment arising, the moment that I have waited years to do. In the Grave Ward's last breathing moments, I hit that with the 360 steering wheel no-scope, rendering him nothing but tree bark, and making me the proud owner of 2 Guinness Book World Records. I killed Mouth Turd with the butt plug, and have now killed Grave Ward with the 360 steering wheel no-scope, all in a day's work. But this shit wasn't over yet. I still had one more record I wanted to slap the poopy diaper off of before I can call this a W. The Code Lyoko cosplayer was kidnapped, and I know that I've made that joke multiple times, but come on. It's a good one, okay? In order to save Tanis, which spoiler alert, we will save, I had to get a nice big pimpin' ride and give it to a bunch of homeless people as an offering to join in on their massive swinger party on wheels. Finding the golden chariot was quite simple, and after entering the carnival, I began getting to work. I wanted to study these buffoons in their natural habitat, and there was only one way to do that. How? You're probably asking? Well, of course, doing the same thing Nigel Thornberry did, murdering absolutely everything. After my steering wheel and I were done with our crusade, it was time to chase down Carnivora. It's okay, because I was born for this shit. In no time, Carnivora was riddled a pile of junk that I took a straight up dookie on, and it was now time to fight the Agonizer 9000. Surprisingly, this fight actually wasn't too bad, which kinda shows how much having good gear really matters. It did take me 3 times, but on my 3rd try, I was able to come out with a W and a victory royale. I made sure Pain and Terror had the death any honorable knight should have, and Aelita was now saved. This next task for Aelita Battle Angel brought me many emotions, so many that in fact I am not very sure on how to contain them. Finding Tanis's Iridian butt plug was already enough, but unfortunately, Harold the Hot Dog assaulted me while I was on this journey.
Dude! Yeah! The fuck! Ew! Hot dog fell? Oh, fuck! Looks like it has a band-aid on it.
I can't believe that my wiener would do this to me. He betrayed his own master. His betrayal led me to beating him and bringing in Steven, the turkey hot dog, so I was okay with that. Directly after this event, another tragedy struck. The tragedy of being molested by a bunch of oversized mosquitoes. I can definitely say that these VAR kids in this factory are absolutely harder than every boss that I have faced against this run. Their constant movement was way too much for my small brain and Call of Duty reaction time. This shit alone took me almost 30 minutes. After finding Tanis's Iridian generator thing, it was now time to attack Cock HQ with my best friend Ava. Being in the presence of Ava gave me a debuff that increased the damage that I took, which led me to a lot of dying. But eventually, after schooling one of the final Thanoses in this anime, I met with the being that personified a grown man's asshole and proceeded to take him on with my steering wheel to find the meaning of this life and our ever-expanding universe. Steven, FBI, and my steering wheel fought valiantly on the front lines. Our Fortnite and Call of Duty KDAs didn't even come close in portraying our absolute skill. Stepping on the gas and hitting those donuts was all I needed. In due time, Troy was dead and I was rewarded with a great gift. A device that lets you read Iridian Braille that literally no one has ever used in any of their playthroughs of this game. Like seriously, name one time that you actually use this shit. This was the final stretch of the game. It was time to end this shit. On Necrotofeo, I had a single goal: finding Danny DeVito and run through this place as fast as I possibly could because I wanted this torture to be over. DeVito informed me that one more Vault Key piece was needed and I needed to find it. So I made my way with my steering wheel to take out the trash that resided on this very planet. Halfway on this conquest and 6 deaths later, Taint was next, and this was where I learned something actually interesting about this boss fight. You can actually shoot these light wells for a free revive. This helped me plenty during this fight, giving me the second wind I needed to finish him off. Like taking candy from a diabetic old man, Taint was dead and I now had Tyreen Soldier 76 ulted, which means for you big dumb idiots that I had her in my sights. I was honored to enter the same room DeVito failed No Nut November in, but this wasn't a time for dilly-dallying. I told you guys that I had one final Guinness World Record to get, and I was going to achieve it. I pulled up with my 2019 Toyota Prius, and it was now time to end this shit once and for all. I entered Tyreen's arena, and a clash of the titans transpired. We met at the hilt of our very steering wheels, and it was definitely a close one. FBI did what he could, but his efforts didn't matter because I had a trick up my sleeve. The thing that I have been holding back this whole time. Just when you thought he couldn't get any stronger, just when you thought that he had reached male peak performance with his big, super big, awesome muscles and looking sexy in every picture, and just when you thought that he was going to give Tyreen a normal pounding, Senza surprises you all. In tribute of Ellie, our queen, I have to finish off Tyreen with my butt plug. Tyreen brought a great and honorable fight, but unfortunately, that hentai abomination stood no chance. She was dead, and I was now the very first person to kill Tyreen with a butt plug and a steering wheel. Not only was this feat mine for the taking, but now Borderlands 3, in all of its entirety, was completed with only a racing wheel. I did this challenge so you sweet little dandelions didn't have to. This is by far, 1,000,000% my most difficult challenge that I have done thus far, but I am now ready for that Nintendo Power Glove. I will finish the crusade and end off this season of Senza Answers Bizarre Questions the right way. This was my build and total hours played during the single run. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and steering wheel your way into that sub and like button. I seriously would appreciate that for the pain I went through this run. If you want to support the channel, consider hitting that join button and becoming a channel partner. I recently got it unlocked and I think I have pretty cool perks. I'll be adding in more emotes and badges over time. Thank you guys so much for the support recently, and I'll see you all in the next episode of Senza Answers Bizarre Questions.